After someone you love dies, you may find yourself asking some very difficult questions. One of those is, what if my hope never comes back? Now, we're not talking about the loud, forced, overly optimistic kind of hope, just that steady sense that life could still hold some kind of meaning again. The hope that I'm talking about here isn't about excitement or optimism. Instead, hope in this context is about trust. Trusting that you might be able to engage in life again without being paralyzed by fear or without having some clear answers for everything. Grief is overwhelming and it makes you afraid of almost everything. And hope is about being able to start living life again. If any of this sounds familiar, then this video is probably for you. My name's Traughber. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And for over 30 years, I've spent my life helping people who have been stuck in grief to get moving again and to find hope. And I want to tell you about a resource I created that might be able to help you. It's helped a lot of my clients and other people who've seen it on my videos. It's called Walking Through Grief. It's an ebook that gives a brief look at how loss affects your body and your mind and your nervous system. It also includes some scripture, biblical insight, and tools that you can use to get through this real difficult time in your life. So if you're interested in it, you'll find the link in the description below. Now, as much as we want to, it's impossible to just fix your grief. Instead, we're here to understand what your body and your heart are doing so that you can move through this hard season of life without getting stuck or sidetracked. Today, we're going to explore why hope often seems to disappear after loss and how it returns in ways that are quieter and more grounded than most people expect. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That verse doesn't suggest that you have to rush through your grief to healing, and it also didn't require you to be strong. It simply talks about God's nearness to us during this time. When we've lost our hope, the thing that helps us isn't certainty about the future. It's the quiet assurance that we're not alone in this present time, that God is with us in our pain and our grief. In fact, that may be the only thing in this world that can offer us comfort and hope. And as you know, grief is hard. It doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your beliefs and your assumptions about life. You see, before we experience loss, hope often lives in our routines or plans. It lives inside the simple belief that tomorrow's going to resemble today in some recognizable way. And then when someone you love dies, your body learns something it never wanted to learn. That life can change in dramatic ways that you have absolutely no control over. And that lesson cuts us to the very core, both emotionally and physically. Because grief isn't something you just think about, it's something that your body carries around. And when we talk about the physical side, we're talking about the nervous system. That part of your body that monitors for safety, the part that scans for danger, the part that decides whether you can rest or whether you need to brace for impact. And after a loss, that system doesn't immediately calm down. Instead, it becomes more alert, more cautious. Every signal coming into your body is filtered through that question, is it safe right now? And for a while, the answer feels pretty uncertain. When your nervous system senses that someone that you love that's very important to you is suddenly gone, it shifts into a prolonged state of alert. Your body begins to release stress hormones more consistently. Your muscles stay tighter than usual. Your thoughts feel foggy and scattered. And you may notice anxiety or other physical discomfort or a heaviness that you can't quite explain. And that isn't because something's wrong with you. It's because your brain's trying to adjust to a reality that you never expected. The reality where your loved one's gone. Your system's working hard to process what feels unthinkable. And in that process, your nervous system becomes careful. It tries to protect you from further hurt. It lowers expectations. It narrows its focus. and it becomes cautious about investing in the future. And that's where hope can begin to feel risky. Not because you've decided to stop hoping, but because your body is trying to prevent you from another shock. Over time, that carefulness doesn't just affect your body, it begins to shape how you see tomorrow. You may notice yourself not looking too far ahead. Now, you probably won't make a conscious decision to stop hoping about the future. That happens quietly behind the scenes. It's self-preservation. Your body's trying to keep you safe. And I've worked with people for months and even years after a loss who say things like, I just don't let myself look too far ahead anymore. And at the core, what they really mean is, if I let myself experience hope for the future, I might get hurt again. Their body's trying to prevent another shock, and that makes sense. Loss teaches your nervous system that attachment can be interrupted and that safety can disappear. So the system begins to narrow its focus. It pulls back from imagining too much or too far in the future. It keeps the emotional investment small. It's trying to protect your heart. But after you've been grieving for a while, something subtle begins to shift. Not excitement, not confidence, but a small return of steadiness. You may notice it as the ability to get through a whole day without falling apart, or the ability to sit with somebody and stay present instead of mentally checking out. That's the kind of hope we're talking about. You probably notice it in those small ways first. Maybe you wake up one morning and it doesn't feel quite as heavy. Or maybe you handle something small and it doesn't take everything out of you. Those moments are not accidental. They're signs that your system is beginning to feel a little less threatened. Hope after loss isn't about believing everything's going to work out. It's about realizing that you can step back into life again, even without guarantees. Now, another reason that hope feels complicated is that grief changes what you hope for. The future that you once imagined may no longer feel possible. Certain plans that you had may feel closed. Certain expectations may no longer be an option. And that can feel like a second loss all over again. Not just the loss of the person that you loved, but the loss of the life that you thought you were going to have. I've worked with both widows and parents who say things like, I don't even know where I'm headed anymore. And that's not about ambition, it's about orientation. You see, hope used to have direction, now it feels undefined, and that can make you hesitant to hope at all, especially when people around you try to hand you a new version of your future and what it's going to look like before you've even finished grieving the old one. But hope doesn't mean recreating your previous life before the loss. Instead, it's about allowing meaning to evolve. It means allowing the shape of your life to change without deciding that it's lost its value. That process unfolds slowly over time. In Isaiah 40, verse 31, we read, But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Notice what that passage talks about. It speaks of weariness and fatigue. It doesn't deny our exhaustion, but it promises us renewal over time. And renewal implies that something's been depleted or worn down, and grief is a wear on our very souls. It wears down certainty and it wears down your energy level every day. So if hope feels thin, that doesn't mean that it's failing. It means that it's being renewed quietly beneath the surface. Now, here's where a lot of people get stuck. Pressure. Pressure to feel better. Pressure to move forward. I've had people tell me, I feel like everybody else is tired of my grief. And when that pressure builds, the nervous system begins to tighten up again. But for many people, that pressure is self-imposed. Rarely do I have clients who tell me that other people actually say to them that they need to be finished or over their grief. Instead, most people believe that's how everyone feels about them. But either way, your nervous system perceives the same thing. I need to be done with this. And that causes a problem because forced emotional movement doesn't feel safe. And whether it's real or imagined, hope's not going to return because someone tells you to think differently. It returns because your system begins to experience steadiness again. So let me say that more clearly. Hope is not a decision. It's a byproduct of safety. When your nervous system senses it's not constantly on edge, it begins to loosen up a little bit. And when it loosens up, curiosity can reappear. Curiosity is often the doorway back to hope. Not large plans, not big promises about the future, just a calm moment where your brain is asking itself, is there anything about today that feels even a little steady or safe? That question shifts the focus away from the distant future and into the present. Not what's my life going to look like a year from now or 10 years from now, just what feels steady and safe right now. Not what should matter and not even what used to matter in the past, just what has even a small sense of life or connection today. For some people, stepping outside for a few minutes can help you experience that. Other people, it might be sitting in your favorite place at the end of the day. And these are not solutions to fix your grief, they're signals. Signals to your nervous system. Each time you engage in something like this and have a good experience, your nervous system updates. And each time you survive another wave of grief, a wave of longing for your loved one and still remaining emotionally standing afterwards, your body learns something new. It learns that engagement doesn't automatically equal devastation. And it learns that connection doesn't automatically equal collapse. And every time this happens, hope grows just a little bit more inside you. Not in a loud way, not in a dramatic way, but as a slight willingness to participate in life again. And that's where something surprising can happen, because when hope begins to return, even gently, it reopens the part of you that's still capable of loving deeply. And because of that, sometimes hope feels frightening because it awakens longing. It awakens this feeling that you've had in the past, so it can feel scary. And at that point, allowing yourself to feel something good, it can stir up that ache of absence all over again. And you may think, if they were here, this would feel different. That ache doesn't mean that you're moving backwards in your grief. It means that your attachment is still alive. It means that that person still has significance to you. And you got to remember that grief and hope are not opposites, that they can exist together. Your heart can hold two things together at the same time that may feel contradictory, but they're not. It can hold sorrow and love at the same time. And if hope feels distant right now, that doesn't mean that you're failing. It may mean that your heart's being more careful. And careful hearts don't rush. They move and they grow slowly over time. And over time, as your nervous system experiences steadiness in small, repeated ways, hope begins to feel less like a risk and more like a quiet companion to be there with you. You may not notice the shift at first. It may show up as slightly longer conversations with somebody, a slightly better day, or it could even show up in a moment of laughter. And if that happens, that's not betrayal, that's integration back into life. If you begin to sense even a small flicker of hope, treat it very gently. You don't have to build on it, you don't have to protect it, just notice it. Hope doesn't usually return in dramatic ways. It returns in quiet shifts over time. It's a steadier breath, or a moment when the future feels a little bit less threatening. Remember, Psalm 34 reminds us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Closeness doesn't erase sorrow, but it means you're not carrying the pain alone in the darkest, scariest places. If hope feels far away right now, that doesn't mean that it's gone permanently. Instead, I want to encourage you to try to trust that the one who stays close is going to hang on to that hope for you until you can hold it again. Now, don't forget to get your free copy of my ebook, Walking Through Grief. It covers what's happening in your body and your mind after loss, and it offers Bible-based guidance to help you through this difficult time. If this video was helpful, check out one of my other grief-related videos on this channel. They offer Bible-based understanding and practical support. See you next time.